Hi guys, have you ever wondered why time seems to speed up as we get older? Why does a year feel endless when you're a kid, but flash by in an instant once you're an adult? Today, we're going to explore why our brains actually distort our sense of time, and how understanding this can change the way you live. Here on In Simple Terms, we take complex ideas and explain them in a simple, clear way. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Enjoy the video. Time isn't just what clocks measure, it's what your mind feels. When you were a child, everything was new. Every sound, every smell, every face. Your brain was constantly learning, recording, and forming memories. That made every moment stretch longer because new experiences force your mind to pay attention. The more attention you give, the slower time feels. But as you grow older, your brain becomes efficient. It doesn't need to record everything in detail anymore. You've seen similar days, walked familiar paths, heard the same voices. So your brain starts compressing those experiences into patterns, shortcuts. And when fewer new memories are created, time seems to shrink. It's not that time itself changes, it's your perception that does. Think about your childhood summers. They felt endless, right? But now, entire months disappear before you realize it. That's because your mind is operating on autopilot. It recognizes routines, predicts outcomes, and doesn't stop to notice the small details. That's why a week of vacation, packed with novelty, feels longer than a month of routine work. Scientists call this the proportional theory of time. As you age, each year becomes a smaller percentage of your total life. To a 5-year-old, 1 year is 20% of their existence. To a 50-year-old, it's only 2%. The longer you live, the shorter each segment feels, not in minutes, but in meaning. Our memories are not time-stamped like files. They are built from emotional and sensory highlights. When life becomes predictable, the number of highlights decreases, and so does your perception of time. In other words, your brain speeds up the playback of your own life when it gets too repetitive. Imagine your life as a movie reel. When you're young, every frame is full of colour and movement. New places, new people, new emotions. Your brain captures every detail because it has no reference point. But as you age, the movie becomes smoother, the scenes blend together, and fewer frames stand out. It's not that your life is less vivid, it's that your brain stops noticing the vividness. This is called neural efficiency. It's a survival mechanism. Your brain saves energy by ignoring what it already understands. That's why your commute feels like it takes no time at all. It's predictable, so your mind barely registers it. But take a different route. Visit a new city, or even just pay attention to your surroundings, and suddenly time seems to expand again. What's really happening is attention, the gateway to time perception. When your attention deepens, your brain switches from autopilot to awareness, creating more detailed memory traces. Those traces stretch time in your perception. The same hour can feel long or short depending on how conscious you are during it. There's also emotion, strong feelings, joy, fear, wonder. Slow time down because they mark moments as significant. That's why a first kiss, a scary fall, or an important win feel longer than an ordinary day. They create dense memory networks that your mind replays again and again. The paradox is that the more familiar your life becomes, the faster it seems to vanish. Routine is comfortable, but it's also a time accelerator. When days blur into each other, your brain stops making distinctions between them, and that's when weeks start disappearing in your perception. To slow time, you have to break the pattern. Novelty and presence are the breaks of mental time. Learning a new skill, travelling, or simply noticing small changes in your daily world. These things create more frames in your inner movie, making your life feel richer and longer. Let's go a little deeper into what's happening inside your brain. Time, as you experience it, doesn't exist in the outside world, it's a construction. The ticking of a clock is physical, but the feeling of that ticking, whether it drags or flies, happens entirely in your mind. Scientists believe this sense of time is created in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the same regions responsible for memory and attention. These areas work like an internal editor, deciding what's important enough to store and what to discard. When your brain encounters something new, it records more information per second, essentially more data frames, and that makes the experience feel longer. But when it recognizes something familiar, it saves only a brief summary. Imagine you're walking through your neighborhood. You've done it 1,000 times, so your brain just notes home to store, normal. But if you walk that same distance in a foreign city, every building, sound and smell becomes data. The result, the same 15 minutes feel like an hour. This is why time feels slow when you travel, or when you do something for the first time, and fast when you repeat it endlessly. Even your firsts in life, first job, first heartbreak, first apartment, stand out vividly because your brain stores them in high resolution. But as life becomes a series of similar events, it compresses everything into one continuous pattern. From a cognitive standpoint, your perception of time equals the density of new memories. Fewer new memories, shorter perceived time. It's not that your days are literally shorter, it's that fewer mental bookmarks are being placed. And when you look back, it feels as though nothing much happened. That's why older people often say, the years just flew by. It's not because they had less time, but because their minds recorded fewer moments worth remembering. Our internal clock also slows with age. When we're young, our metabolism is faster, our neurons fire more rapidly, and our sense of time is more detailed. As we grow older, biological processes slow down, but paradoxically subjective time speeds up. One theory suggests that when we're children, we experience life at a higher sampling rate, noticing countless tiny moments. As adults, that rate decreases, and so our sense of time smooths out. The result is like watching a movie in fast forward, fewer frames, but the same duration. There's also psychology at play. Modern life pushes us toward repetition. Wake, work, scroll, sleep. Digital routines blur one day into the next. When every day looks the same, your brain stops labeling them as unique experiences. You might even feel like you're losing time. But what's really happening is you're losing attention. The world didn't speed up. Your perception simply flattened. The good news, you can reverse it. Studies show that mindfulness, the act of being truly present, increases the brain's temporal resolution. When you slow down enough to actually notice what's around you, time expands. Moments feel fuller, more alive, and longer. Novelty is another key. When you try something new, your brain reactivates its beginner's curiosity, recording in high detail again. That's why new hobbies, challenges, or travels can make a single month feel like an entire year. It's not just about adding activities, it's about restoring the freshness of perception you had as a child. So how can you make time feel slower again? Not by stopping clocks, but by shifting perception. The answer lies in how you live your days. Start by paying deliberate attention to the present moment. When you eat, actually taste your food. When you walk, feel the rhythm of your steps. These moments may sound ordinary, but they awaken parts of the brain that have gone numb from routine. Attention creates detail, and detail stretches time. The second key is novelty. Your brain thrives on difference. When you break routine, even in small ways, you jolt your mind awake. Take a different route to work. Rearrange your workspace. Learn a new word or skill every day. Each unfamiliar experience becomes a new data point in your mental timeline, slowing your perception of time. The third is emotional engagement. Time expands when you care. Deep conversations, meaningful connections, moments of awe. These are emotional anchors that mark memory. They add texture to your timeline. Think about it. The moments you remember most in life are rarely the comfortable ones. They're the intense, challenging, or beautiful ones that forced you to feel something real. That's because emotion is the glue of memory. Without emotion, time slides past unnoticed. Another way to stretch time is through reflection. Our modern lives rarely leave room to pause, yet reflection converts fleeting moments into lasting memories. Writing a journal, capturing photos with intention, or even thinking quietly about your day helps your brain consolidate experiences. It's like adding bookmarks to the story of your life. When you reflect regularly, your perception of time becomes fuller because your mind acknowledges what actually happened. There's also the idea of mental contrast. When you place yourself in new environments, travel, art, nature, your sense of time stretches. You can experience this even by changing sensory input. Different music, lighting, scents. These shifts wake up dormant pathways and refresh how your brain processes experience. Time doesn't feel faster because you're older. It feels faster because life becomes repetitive. You can change that by reintroducing wonder. The key to slowing time is not doing more, it's noticing more. When you treat every day as a series of things you've already seen, you erase time. When you approach it with curiosity, you recover it. Children live in constant discovery. Adults live in constant efficiency. The trick is to merge the two, to stay curious while being aware. If you do, your years won't vanish, they'll expand. The strange truth is that the length of your life is not measured in hours or years, but in moments of awareness. You could live a long life that feels short, or a short life that feels endless, depending on how deeply you're present in it. So if time feels like it's slipping away, don't chase it, notice it. The next time you're caught in a routine, pause, look around, and remember that the perception of time is a mirror of attention. The more alive you are to this moment, the longer your life will feel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.